buckle up, because it's gonna be a long ride. It's gonna be a wild ride. Nobody cares, but we're gonna tell you anyways. This is Popcorn Chats.
Oh no.
Oh shit.
No, Leanne.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Do you have Sister Rona, or is it just a cold?
No, it's just a cold. It's so hard, like, taking care of yourself when you're sick. It's the fucking worst.
It is. I remember when I got a sinus infection when I was living in Florida, and it was like towards the beginning of my program, and I was so sick, and I had to go to like this. I had to like look up an urgent care, drive in traffic to it, and then their pharmacy was closed, but it was like a Sunday, so then I had to drive around to like multiple locations to find a pharmacy that was open, and I was just on the phone with my mom crying.
I know.
Like, this sucks.
I know.
It sucks when you're all by yourself.
My friend's aunt and uncle just invited me to their Thanksgiving. Thank God I'm not trying to cook. I cannot. I was just stressing about that today. I was like, I really want like comfort food, but I can't, like, I'm not going to go to the grocery store. Right. I cannot afford to go to the grocery store right now. They jack up all the fucking prices this time of year. Fuck you for that. I'm not trying to cook. Our oven literally starts a fire every time you try to use it, so I'm not trying to deal with that on fucking Thursday. There's only 2 people that live here. I don't want a ton of leftovers. I just want to go somewhere, so thank God bless you, Aunt Angela and Uncle Garland, for inviting me. They always give me money and like food every time I see them. So God bless them. I was holding out. I was hoping that they were going to invite me to their little Thanksgiving, but I wasn't going to invite myself. But they invited me. Cute. Last minute invite.
Lila.
I don't know whose turn it is to intro.
It's your turn.
Are you fucking serious?
I know.
Let me just respond to this invite really fast.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I will redo that. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Popcorn Chats. I'm Katie.
And I'm McKay.
And this week we are covering one of the only Thanksgiving movies we could think of, Paul Blart Mall Cop. I don't have anything else to say. I'm sick as fuck, so bear with me.
We went from last week talking about like an indie award-winning, award-nominated A24 film about grief and all this deep shit to this week talking about Paul Blart Mall Cop. And if that doesn't show our range, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what does.
Sometimes around this time of year, it really gets dicey. Like, we're all over the fucking place covering like award show stuff. And then we're talking about the Grinch the next day. Like, the holidays are always crisscross applesauce for us Popcorn Chats girlies. So
Wild.
That's that. How are you?
That's that.
Do you have a check-in?
I'm leaving the kitties for the first time ever.
Oh,
actually,
yes.
Oh, wait, when is this episode going up? Saturday? Okay, I'll be back home. Because I don't want to, like, let people know that I'll be, like, leaving my apartment vacant. I'm very, very anxious about it. I know in my head they're going to be okay. I'm just a very, very anxious mother about leaving them. That's tripping me out. But anyways, happy to have a short work week. And also, look, my Damon Playboy.
Oh, fuck yes. That's cute.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm like, did I need 3 of these shirts just with different people on it? No, but also, like, I love them so much. So,
I think you did.
Anyway.
You did need them. My birthday gift still hasn't arrived for you, has it?
No,
I
that's
saw
okay.
that
I've been watching.
It got delayed, so at least I know that it's not like lost in transit. But hopefully it gets there fucking soon. I'm pissed off.
Yes, no, I've been keeping an eye out. How are you doing besides being sickly?
I'm doing really well. My one check-in is that I went to see the Fletcher concert when she was here in LA last week. My girlfriend and we went on Thursday, and literally every lesbian in Los Angeles was there. JoJo Siwa's ex-girlfriend, I saw her like 3 times. On Friday, there were even more lesbians there, which is crazy, and we wanted to go again on Friday, but it just didn't work out because tickets were like $16, so we were like, we should just go again, but we didn't. But JoJo Siwa was there on Friday, and her ex was there, and her new girlfriend, both of their new girlfriends were there on Friday. It's crazy. So, but yes, Fletcher was amazing. Met lots of cool people. Had a blast. She's great live, if anybody out there was wondering. But yeah, the tour is over now, so I guess.
Oh, so you got to see like the last shows.
Yeah, the LA shows were her last shows. It would have been cool to be there on the last night because she like cried on the stage and everything. I don't know. It's just like people talk about representation and like how important it is nowadays, and I think sometimes it can be like overused, or like sometimes people put in like token gay characters and it's like obvious when that's happening, and it's just like that is whatever. As a queer person, like it's so hard for me to stress. I have never ever been to a concert before where I have felt that comfortable and that like safe and happy. Like even at Harry Styles, which was the last concert I went to before this one, like I don't know, it's just so cool to see somebody that is just like you, like killing it on stage, and then also to be surrounded by people that are like you in the audience. Like there were a few men, but like it was pretty much all queer women at this concert, and it was just like it was very lovely and I was just thinking to myself like, wow, this is how men feel all the time. This is how white men feel all the time. Like you just walk into a room and you're safe. Like you don't stick out, or you're like not the only person. And it sucks that it takes like being in a marginalized community to feel that way. But it's like, you know, I was talking to my roommate and she was like, that's how Black people feel all the time too. Like any marginalized community, and then just women in general too. Like if you're in a room full of women, you're gonna feel safer than you would in a room full of men, and you're the only women or woman. So I don't know, I've just been reflecting on that a lot this week. Those spaces are very important. That's all I have to say.
Well,
now on to Paul Blart. Now on to Polly B.
Yeah. Now let's talk about Blicka Blart or whatever.
I have a question for
Katie?
you first. I have a question.
Oh, okay.
What are your early memories of this film? Because it came out a long ass time ago. Do you watch this regularly? Like, what's your deal with this movie?
I don't watch this movie regularly. So I remember seeing it when it first came out, because like this was a big movie when it first came out back in whatever 2009 or something. I'm sure I went to see it with my family, or like rented it with my family, and I remember liking it as a kid. And then sometimes at Family Video I would like put it on in the store to like watch it, but I never like, probably since like I was a kid, I haven't like sat down and watched this movie through and through, but I was still highly entertained this time around. I like have good memories of it, I guess, or like a fond opinion of it heading into this recent watch from when I was a kid. What about you?
Yeah, I remember watching it on long drives in the car on the way to like grandparents' houses or something. I remember thinking that Paul Blart was a very unlikable character when I was a kid, and that still holds true to this day. No offense, Lilas Paul, but I think it all kind of clicked for me when I saw what production company made this movie.
I knew you were gonna bring that up.
I hate Adam Sandler. He's number one on my celebrity fight list, and his production company, Happy Madison, produced this film, Paul Blart, and it just really makes a lot of sense for me as to why I pretty much love all aspects of this film except for the main character and his storyline. But that being said, I remember really thinking this movie was fun as a kid, and it's just like a family comedy that's just like great, but it's kind of ass.
I mean, it's like pretty ridiculous, but it's like entertaining enough, and it's short enough. It's only 90 minutes, so like at least they didn't push it, making it that much longer. I do have to say, with the production company part, I think maybe too, another reason why I watched this movie so many times as a kid was because we were always looking for movies that my brother and I could both watch, because obviously he never wanted to watch like any quote unquote girly movies that I wanted to watch, and I never wanted to watch like James Bond, like 007 or like 21. Like I never wanted to watch those. So a lot of like the Happy Madison movies were ones that we watched, like the Benchwarmers, like this one. So I think having an older brother, I was just around these types of movies more, and like Napoleon Dynamite too. Like I remember we would watch that on road trips, and movies like that I wouldn't typically pick up, and I don't think like you and Aaron were watching together a lot of the time, that I think I have fond memories of them because of that. Like we wouldn't fight over watching these ones.
God bless growing up with a sister, and I was also the oldest, so I had a stronger say in what we got to watch. But I remember my dad thought this movie was fucking hilarious. It's definitely a dad movie.
I think because they all secretly have a little Paul Blart in them.
Who was your standout star?
I want you to go first. I always go first on this.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, well,
no, that's okay. I just am interested.
No, it isn't.
That's mine too.
Obviously, Pahood. He is the best character. He is like the thing that I remember when I was a kid too, like the fucking cell phone situation where it's like, you're the type of boy I want to chew up on my bubble gum. Like, I just used to think that was so fucking funny.
Yes, mine was also Pahood as well. He's just such a gem whenever he pops up on screen. I love whenever that ringtone comes on because we know we're getting his content. And he ends up being like the key player in the rescue of Paul Blart's apple of his eye, and then his daughter, without him, they would have been on their way to wherever that plane was going, whatever, or dead. So he really is the true star. And also when he answers the phone and he goes, "Are you feeling alive?" That was like burned in my memory when that popped up. I love his and Paul's relationship throughout the film. It's like Katie has walked off the set. She has pulled a Real Housewife and she has just walked off. We need you back on to fulfill your contract.
Can I just have 1 minute, please?
I was just watching a Real Housewives reunion and one of them walked off and they're like, "Vicky, come back." My standout scene is something very dumb, but I think just because it's so absolutely ridiculous, is when he rides his Segway out of the ball pit.
Yes, that is a classic
rises
moment.
from the dead on
That's
his Segway.
so funny.
This was before there were like major ad placements, I feel like, in things, but this was an ad for Segways, and you can't convince me otherwise.
I remember my parents were like, "Let's ride Segways like Paul Blart," when we went to like San Diego or like wherever they do those Segway tours.
I don't know if this scar picks up on camera. That's like, can you see?
Oh yeah, I
can
see
you
that.
see that scar right there?
Yeah.
That is from a Segway in Mexico that I guarantee we went on that trip after watching this movie and we all rode Segways and I fell off of one and then my brother jumped off of his and it fell into a river.
Oh my God.
They are dangerous. They are dangerous. I mean, you see Paul Blart hit a puppy.
That's why he's unlikable. He's unlikable from the start. You can't run over a dog.
No.
First 15 minutes, you're running over a dog. I don't care who the fuck you are.
But this is definitely an ad for Segways because he's jumping roofs. It's like surviving gunshots. It's truly just his ride or die, literally. So yeah, that was my standout scene. What was yours?
Oh, my favorite part is the Victoria's Secret brawl when everybody is like making fun of him, or not making fun of him, but all of the ladies are like, yeah, really, like, what are you gonna do? Like, how she just beats the shit out of him. Also, something that was lost on me, going back to the moment where he like rides out of the ball pit with when he's like fighting Rudolph or whatever, I forgot all of the heist members are named after the reindeer, and I think that's a cute little detail. And truly, this is a Thanksgiving movie that takes place on Black Friday, and there aren't many films like that. Black Friday is fucking crazy. It's a crazy concept. I have like trauma from working retail on Black Friday. It's awful.
At least they seem to have dialed it back since the pandemic because it was getting really bad where it was like Thanksgiving at like 4 p.m. stores were opening.
Right.
So I feel like since the pandemic, places have really cracked down on it, are not really open on Thanksgiving anymore at least, which is good. Like, let people have their fucking holidays. Like, they're not doctors. They're not saving lives. They're selling sweatshirts. Like, you don't need them to be in on Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. That's the thing too. I'm fucking rooting for the heist team in this. These stores will make their money back. I mean, it's bad that they like kidnap people and take his daughter and get that money. Get your bag. Fuck capitalism.
See, I think if the pair who had trapped Paul in the tunnel thing, like the girl with the braids and the guy who did all the parkour, I think if they were the leaders, I would be rooting for them. But the fact that it's the one mall cop dude turned bad guy, he's so like slimy that it's like, I can't even be on your side. And then knowing that the big macho SWAT dude is also in on it, I'm like, I can't get on your side either. If you would have told me that like leader of the mall cops, like that little guy with his little notepad was in on it, I would have been like, okay, get your bag, sir, because you probably don't have much in your 401k. If it was him and those other two, would have been in on it. But I can't deal with like all the slimy men. I'm like,
patchy beard. He's running the whole thing. Get out of here. He's the reason why it all falls apart anyways. Yeah, I love the two at the beginning in the jeans store. They are sexy.
I thought you were gonna like them. I mean, I even like them. I was like, okay. The girl kind of reminded me a little bit of like Michelle Rodriguez vibes from like early Fast and Furious movies. I was into it.
I know, they're doing, like, all this parkour shit, fucking skateboarding,
Yeah.
biking, and, like, they're cool.
Dude,
They're
I even
dope.
made a note of that. All of this parkour is very 2000s. Like, parkour was huge. I feel like there was, like, a movement of parkour for a while. And do you remember when, like, even Taylor Lautner made a whole movie about parkour that absolutely flopped?
He did? What was it called?
It was called, like, Tracers or something.
Racers. I remember Abducted that he did. That was the only other one I remember.
This movie right here, ladies and gentlemen, it did horrible. We had a bunch of copies of it at Family Video and it, like, never rented. A beautiful woman working for a crew that uses parkour to pull off major heists helps a New York bicycle messenger who's in hot water with a group of gangsters.
What
And
the
that is
fuck?
the poster.
That's awful. I'm sorry. Yeah, I feel like this movie has a lot of, like, staples of this era, like the fucking wedding montage at the end. I feel like every 2000s, like, rom-com or, like, comedy needed, with a love story in it, needed to have a scene with a wedding at the end where it's just, like, in that little box during the credits. Here's my question. Why? Why was that such a huge thing back in the 2000s / like 2010s? Because that had to have been expensive to film. And it's just this added scene at the end.
Yeah.
To give people peace of mind that, like, the couple that, like, just, as a filmmaker, like, knowing how much money that probably costs. Why was that at the end of a lot of Happy Madison movies? There's just always a wedding at the end.
Yeah. It's totally unnecessary. There's
Why?
absolutely no reason for it.
They get married at the mall.
Yeah.
I would slap a bitch. Hell no, we're not getting married at the mall. This dying Midwestern mall, bitch. Hell no.
I think maybe part of it is, like, since this is, like, a family movie and it's like, oh, look at this, like, that's the progression of, like, American lives. You're supposed to, like, you know, go to school, get a job, meet someone, get married, and I mean, you saw the rest of that, so then it's like, oh, cap it off with a wedding, and, like, then you're just supposed to be set for life, you know, after you get married. So I don't know,
They live
maybe.
happily ever after.
Yeah, I do love it that in the second movie, right at the beginning, they're like, oh yeah, she annulled the marriage or something, like,
Really?
the next day or something. Yeah, they're not together in the second movie.
She got
like,
it
jumped in.
annulled?
She, like, annulled the marriage.
Is she in the second movie?
No.
Oh, bitch, that's fucking funny. Fuck you, Paul.
So this one, okay, so the first one came out in 2009, and then the second one came out in 2015. So you, like, lost that core audience, you know, that, like, kid audience, because this came out when we were in high school, where, like, the other one came out in middle school, and it's like, that's where you want to hit it. Yeah, it's like 6 years later. I remember I watched it once at Family Video. I put it in once and, like, kind of watched it while I was working and never watched it again. Divorced him 6 days into their marriage.
Damn. That's cold. Wow.
Oh, and then his... Oh my God. Okay, so his wife Amy divorced him 6 days into their marriage, and 2 years later, his mother Margaret was killed after being hit by a milk truck.
Holy shit.
Wild.
Is his daughter still okay?
Yeah, his daughter goes with him to this, like, in the plot of this one.
So she dumped his ass.
Yeah, and then at the end here, it says, Paul falls for a mounted police officer, you know, like the ones who ride horses, who reciprocates his advances, but her horse reflexively kicks him into the side of a car.
Cheers to the happy couple. I'm glad they spent so much money on that mall wedding just to get divorced 6 days later. Let's talk about, quickly, his titty sweat at the beginning. I can't even make fun of this man because he is running. He is doing cardio, honey.
Yeah.
He's putting in work. He's doing a flip off the fucking rope. Like, just give this man the badge. There's worse motherfuckers going into the police force. So what? He's got narcolepsy or hypoglycemia or whatever the fuck he's got.
He would be like he'd be the one who would definitely pull you over for going like 3 miles over the speed limit, but
He'd let you off with a warning.
Yeah, he'd be like a stickler for that. Or like if you didn't stop all the way at a stop sign, he'd like pull you over. But you know, I don't think he's going to like falsely accuse you of murder or like actually murder you. I feel like from what we've seen, you know, he's like on the side of the people. I would feel safe sending my children to school with Paul Blart as the security at school.
Right.
Like,
yeah, he took down an entire team of heist people, armed heist people, with just him and his Segway.
And his bedazzled phone.
And one of them, yes, and one of them knew that he was unarmed. Like, they knew he didn't have shit. I think he's just a tryhard. Like, he's calling people...
He's a tryhard.
He's calling the people at the mall civilians. I'm sorry.
He's grating. His personality is grating. Amy calls him, what does she call him? Like a
security guard.
Security guard. And he laughs and he's like, I prefer whatever.
Like, there's like a debate
title.
about like if it should be guard or officer. It's like, shut the actual fuck up.
Here's the thing. He is like, he's not a bad guy by any means. He's just annoying. Like, you would just not want to be stuck in a conversation with him and all of his fun facts. His, like, trying to be cooler than he actually is. So it's like, while Stuart, the bank guy, is also equally as annoying, it is kind of fun to see him flame Paul every now and then.
Yeah.
I will argue that there's no likable people in this movie except maybe the daughter. But besides that, like, no one's really that. Even is the daughter likable? Not really, because she's got Paul Blart energy to her. So honestly, this is a movie of unlikable people.
Yeah.
You know.
I like when the daughter is like, I'm late for my shift at Foot Locker. That shit had me die laughing. I don't know why. Yeah, I also appreciate when the pen salesman is flaming Paul, or I don't know if he's a pen salesman. I don't know what the fuck his issue is.
I don't know.
Yeah, don't really like when he is like commenting on his weight. That's fucking rude. Don't be mean to people.
As we've said with all like early 2000s things, there's a lot of like comments about weight. Like the fat chick in Victoria's Secret, like she got beat up by her. There's a lot of like fat jokes. And it's just, you know, you don't see that anymore, which is good. Or you don't see it as much anymore as you used to. So
another takeaway from this movie, rest in peace malls. R.I.P.
Yeah.
Especially like that type of mall. It kind of looks like the Easttown Mall in Madison, does it not?
It does a little bit. Yeah. Especially like those grates over them. Yeah.
I miss those days, bro. Just us going there and fucking around.
I know. That was fun. That was like fun as a kid. Now I'm like half scared being in the mall. I literally go there for Barnes and Noble and thanks God that's on like the outside of it. So it's like I can just pop in and out. Or Bath and Body Works. If I need a candle, I will park at the closest entrance to that store, walk in, get there, and get out of there.
I just want to know who this movie is for. Because I remember being annoyed by this guy as a kid.
It's definitely for, I would say, elementary school to middle school audience with their parents. Because I think it's entertaining enough for adults to watch and not hate it. Like, my mom hated Spy Kids. She fucking hated those movies. She hated taking us to those. But I think this one, at least, it has, like, enough of, like, not, like, adult humor, but enough stuff for, like, adults to be like, oh, haha. Like, how we were laughing at some of these things. But it's still, like, low-level humor enough for kids to be able to, like, laugh at it. And for brother-sister duos who can never agree on movies. And this is, like, a middle ground.
Yeah, she was probably just like, whatever. Put it in. It's fine. I can deal with Paul Blart. Yeah, I think also Amy is valid for divorcing him. She probably found out that he was like watching her on the security cameras like a fucking creepo.
Yeah, I feel like they're both botched. I'm like, Amy, I don't know. She's kind of botched too. I did like though when they're at the one bar and Stuart comes up to Paul and like interrupts him. And then she's like, oh, that's so rude. I'm so sorry, Paul. What were you saying? And like redirects her attention back to him. Like, good for you, girl. Do like her at some points, but also I think, like I said, I just find everyone annoying in this movie. So.
The guy at the end, Paul's boss, I call him Shakes McGee, at the end when he comes through. Oh, God. Fucking liability ass bitch, but good for him for shooting when it needed to happen, but I'm afraid of that, man, having a gun. Well, I don't like that.
Thank God he's a mall cop, so he doesn't have that in his everyday arsenal.
Oh, Lord. Have mercy. It's the other cop being like, your flight's been canceled. They had to do this in New Jersey because it's like a cop movie and it's like every level of cop, like mall cop, regular cop, SWAT. Your flight's been canceled. You had to get that Jersey guy in there to have the final word.
I do love when what you call him, Shakes McGee, was making up the lists of comebacks and he shows him in the cop reads the first one, yeah, you in what army?
Yeah.
And the guy's like, that's good. Like, come on. He's like, he quite literally has an army.
Yeah.
That did actually make me laugh.
I can't.
Oh, speaking of when the daughter went in and the Foot Locker thing, how did she not see all of the police surrounding the building? Or vice versa?
How was she not stopped? I don't know. They had to get her in there somehow. Because, I mean, like, isn't he, like, about to leave and then he finds out that she's in there too? Or he's about to give up. And then he's like, well, I gotta pull through. He needed that extra little oomph, but still.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I cannot get past the fact that she divorced him 6 days later. That just, like, taints this entire movie for me. That's so funny.
I think it's hilarious.
It's hilarious and justified. You go, Amy. But also, fuck you. You fucking wig salesman.
And from a
She's
mall
selling
kiosk.
wigs.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so back. I want to just go over the premise of this movie. Because, Katie, we talk about frequently how movies get, like, greenlit and why certain movies are made. And I just want to know, I mean, I know that there's a person, obviously, the creators, the writers, whatever. But really, who was sitting around and was like, you know what we really need a movie of? A mall cop who wants to be a real cop and just takes his job, like, overtly seriously, rides a Segway, passes out if he doesn't have enough sugar, and takes down a heist on Black Friday all by himself. Like, genuinely, who comes up with that? Who's sitting around and that's, like, what they're brainstorming about throughout the day, you know?
Yeah. I think this film only exists in the 2010s. I just struggle with any film that is like the nice guy gets the girl, and like I'm not saying that like I don't like it when the nice guy gets the girl. Adam Sandler movies are always like the nice guy gets the girl. However, it's not the nice guy. It's just like every other guy except he's chubbier or he's goofy or he is like kind of a schlep. Like I'm thinking of like Big Daddy. It's like, well, he deserves to like get pussy too, and it's like, does he though? Like I don't know if he fucking does. Again, these movies only work in that time period. Like really, really work. I mean, now they exist and it is what it is, and it's fun to watch and be like, haha, whatever, Paul Blart. I'm never gonna watch this fucking movie again because cops are fucking botched. Always have been. I'm not saying like now they're botched, but
yeah, it's definitely very dated. Like I don't see a movie like this being created nowadays. Could see some sort of like iteration of it or something similar. And like along the lines of like you saying like that we don't want to see cops. I think like we don't want to see cops, but there's still an audience who wants to see cops, and like there's tons of cops shows and like cop movies still, and so I could definitely see something still like this being made, just like an updated version. Maybe not about a mall cop because I think that's kind of aged out, but some sort of like guy who's aspiring to be like, you know, maybe it's like a regular cop aspiring to be like a SWAT member or something, and it's like that next level. It doesn't need to exist, but I also wouldn't put it past Hollywood.
It's a good trope of like the underdog and somebody who everybody kind of like overlooks finally like having their moment where they rise to the occasion. That is always going to work. Like that type of formula is never going to not work. It's just the details surrounding it. Like that tells you like what time period this is from. And then also if it's going to be like a timeless classic, or, you know, if it's just going to be like, oh yeah, I remember that movie. And we were like, what should we cover for Thanksgiving? And we're like, Paul Blart, because that's a Thanksgiving movie.
Oh shit.
I don't
it's
know
not
of
like
any
the
other
Benchwarmers,
Thanksgiving.
where I've watched that. I mean, like that movie, yeah, it has its issues, but like I've watched that movie so many times over the years, where it's like this one is just one that I will leave cemented in the 2000s.
Yes,
early 2000s.
It worked for that. It worked for the long car rides to Grandma and Grandpa's house, and that's where it shall stay.
I am, once again, when we love seeing Paul be roasted, but when he's talking to Amy at the kiosk, and when he like is like, I'm in sector 510-4, and his boss like threw a mouthful of sandwiches, like, what the fuck you bothering me for? Like, you don't need to tell me that. And he says that over the radio and she can hear it. I just love seeing this man once again trying to like appear so cool in front of her and just constantly getting shot down.
That's probably why she divorced him, because she was probably like, just be real. Like, I like you for you.
Yeah. And the fight in Victoria's Secret.
Yes.
Icon. I love that lady for beating him up, for being like,
yes.
Okay.
Or when he's like,
Screw
I do
you.
have the authority to make a citizen's arrest. And she's like, so do I. I could arrest you right now.
Yeah.
And then they're all like, yeah, she's right. She could. Oh, and when he's calling for backup and no one's giving it backup.
I know. I love the one dude just sitting there.
That'd be me. I'm like, first of all, it's my first day on the job. I'm not like in a combative mode. I don't have any combat training. I'm not, also, that's like a liability because if you let a new person like get into an altercation and then they hurt somebody and then they find out that like you guys didn't train that person, then y'all are gonna be in a big heap of trouble. I don't get paid enough to pry two sweaty white people apart. I'm so sorry. I can't do it. I'm not doing it.
And when he's talking about his lunch break and he's like, you get 30, but I like eat for 20 and then 5 minutes to refocus on each side or whatever. Bro.
I get a 45-minute lunch break.
Do you really? That's a nice break.
Unpaid.
Oh, trash. My last note just that I had here was the fact that when he's like, I made an oath to protect this mall, and the dude's like, there's quite literally not an oath. Paul Blart, and he's like, I know, I made one up myself and I framed it in my bedroom.
I mean, there's a reason why this man isn't getting paid. There's a reason why this man doesn't have a girly pop.
And his dating profile at the beginning, we didn't even touch on that.
No, get out of here where he's like humping the Segway and like doing the fucking pole dance, which you could make that endearing. I'm sorry, but you could make that endearing. That's not an automatic swipe. Yeah. If I see somebody doing that on a dating app, I think that's endearing. I think there's a way to be like funny and endearing, but like that was just cringy. That was awful. Get out.
Yeah, there were parts of that video that, again, I think, because here's the thing, he has potential. He has potential.
Right.
He just tries too hard and he makes it cringy. If we were Paul Blart's dating coach, we could like really help him out. I think.
Oh, yes, absolutely. With Adam Sandler stuff or like Kevin James, basically any of the guys from Grown Ups, I feel like any film that they're involved in is always, I feel like there's just this subconscious assumption that every man deserves pussy. Like, every man just should get women just because you're a good guy or, like, you are not hurting people or anything. Like, you don't just get the girl that way. Like, you have to, like... Girls have to like you, and they can choose if they do or not. You literally ran into a minivan. I think you shouldn't be that surprised if she's like, no thanks, I'm good. Like, you're watching her on the security cameras, bro. It's a little bit much. It's a little much. You're asking her for hair extensions. Come on now.
Yeah.
I can't.
But then he does sweet things like he gets a card and like gets her a birthday card.
That was fucking cute.
That was adorable. Like he's literally taking down criminals.
Let's talk about the fucking card because I love that full circle moment when she's like, nobody gets me anything on my birthday because my birthday is Black Friday, which that wouldn't be the same day every year. But we'll just look past it. He has obviously the craziest Black Friday ever trying to like protect this mall and he still gets her a card, but then the writing on the card fucking ruined it. He said, Amy, you are like a great meal. You make me feel stuffed with feelings. Plus, I don't need to unbutton my pants. Paul. Excuse
Paul,
me.
you could have just settled for happy birthday.
You met this woman 2 days ago. This man needs serious Queer Eye level intervention. Yes. Like, I cannot witness
Can
this.
you imagine what Anthony would do when he got in Paul Blart's kitchen and it's like pie with peanut butter and all of this shit?
He would be a true test for the Queer Eye guys.
Hannah would get in there and be like, what the fuck is your wardrobe? Krama's the dude all about... Actually, Krama would have fun with him because he's like all about like confidence and he'd be like, Paul, you got the confidence. We just gotta like shape it a little bit.
Yeah, he would make Paul cry within like the first 2 minutes. He'd be like, so your wife left you. Immediate tears. Last thing I want to talk about is that botched ass sucker that he has to eat off the floor. I'm dying right then and there. I don't care. I'm not eating that crusty, dusty sucker.
No.
You could not pay me. You could not
No.
pay me.
I mean, you could pay me, but it would be a really high amount of money.
That is so rotted. Corinne ate a fucking hot dog off of the ground when she was drunk, and I was like, I mean, it was her hot dog. I bought it for her from like a food truck, but
Did
then
it fall on
she
the
dropped
ground
it.
outside?
Yeah, she dropped it outside of the concert. She picked it up, and I hid it out of her hands, and then she picked it up again and shoved it in her mouth. And I was like, you're disgusting.
Although, wait, did you say she was drunk?
Yeah, she was quite inebriated.
Pass. Then she gets a pass on it.
Also, the other thing that cements this into the 2010s is the Rock Band video game that he's playing.
Oh my god. Yes. That made me actually want to play Rock Band. I like get urges randomly to just be like, I wish that I had an Xbox or a PlayStation to play Rock Band or Guitar Hero. Mostly Guitar Hero.
Yeah, I might have to play some Lego Star Wars tonight. All right, are we done?
I think we're done. I don't think there needs to be any more said about it.
I don't think so either. Next week, we are back with our Pretty Little Liars series, ladies. Get ready.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited. We're wrapping up
too.
season 1 of our rewatch, and it's going to be a blast and a half, so tune the fuck in. I'm
Love
going
that.
to see Bones and All on Thursday.
Ooh,
And
enjoy.
I can't wait to see my Timmy boy as a cannibal, a sexy cannibal.
Lila
ass.
Oh no, now I can't see GarageBand. Lilas.
Lilas.